We're back, and today we're talking about some of the numbers that we got from some of the most popular anime series this anime season. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Now, if you don't know, Netflix releases their top 10 every week, and we also get to see the viewership data, right? So for something like dandadan, for example, it has 4.3 million views in the week that it premiered. Now, I honestly think this is amazing, this is top tier, and we're definitely gonna be comparing these numbers to some other series that Netflix has, right? But for example, we also got Ranma 1/2, which I gotta tell you, I was surprised that it did this good. I checked the first episode out, and it wasn't for me. But it has 2.5 million people tuning in to watch Ranma, at least in the very first week. And I think that's a very large number as well. I don't know if Netflix will consider this like a huge success. But if we were to switch this to like, for example, to English, we would see that at the very least, dandadan is competing to TV shows with like Love is Blind, which is on season 7. I don't know, right? But that has 4.9 million views, which again, maybe for Netflix, that's very good numbers, which will kind of in the future make Netflix invest in more anime, right? Now, I don't know if Love is Blind is available in any other platforms or is only exclusive to like, you know, Netflix. But at the very least, if dandadan were to like be compared to everything that released that week, we would see that it will be at number 5 on this list. And I think that's very good. But dandadan is not available on Netflix alone. Like, it's not exclusive to Netflix. Me personally, I watch dandadan on Crunchyroll. So you gotta think, maybe on Crunchyroll, it has maybe the same amount of viewers, maybe a little bit more, because Crunchyroll is like the anime website, it's the biggest anime streaming website. So maybe they're pulling a little bit more numbers over there on Netflix, to where the number could be anywhere around like 8, 9 million total views across both platforms. I'm only guessing here because, you know, Crunchyroll is not cool like Netflix and they don't release those numbers. But it could very well be way smaller, right? Because at the end of the day, Netflix is probably the biggest streaming platform. I think they got like over 100 million users a month or something like that. But regardless, the fact that dandadan is, you know, number 2 when it comes to non-English and number 5 if we were, you know, on the English section, I would say that's a very big success. Now, if we were to compare it to something like Black Clover, the Wizard King movie that came out in 2023, we see that when it premiered to 6.4 million views. Now, I honestly think this would also have been a little bit more because the movie released June 16th, so it only had like 2 days out of the week to be here. And if we look at like the next week, you know, it adds like another 4 million views to the Black Clover movie for a total of like 10 million views in the span of like a week and a half, right? Which is absolutely great. And if we see back again with dandadan, the viewership does go down every week, right? Like it was 4.3 the first week, it went down to 3.4 the next week, and I think the third week it went down to 3.1. Now, it could be because people are watching it different times, whatever the case may be, but I feel like that's definitely normal, right? And now on the third week, we get to see Dragon Ball Daima actually show up, and it showed up to a 3.2 million views. Now, I definitely do think that Crunchyroll is affecting the numbers here, because Dragon Ball Daima, at least on Netflix, it only has 3 episodes. But on Crunchyroll, they have 4. So it feels like Crunchyroll had like the streaming rights to air the episodes like a week earlier. I don't know what type of deal they have, but you know, they have earlier episodes. They're more advanced in the episode count. So I honestly do feel like at the very least, people are watching Dragon Ball Daima more on Crunchyroll. Again, I watch all my anime on Crunchyroll because that's my anime place, right? But the fact that dandadan at the very least for now is securing 3+ million views every week, I gotta tell you, that's kind of insane. And Ranma 1/2, you know, it went all the way down to 1.4. I feel like, you know, that's maybe where it should be. I just honestly don't think that Ranma has that big of a pool, at least to you know, get the dandadan numbers or the Black Clover numbers, right? And I mean, if we were to compare it to the One Piece live action, that would just be kind of criminal, because One Piece, the live action, is probably one of the most successful TV shows for Netflix. But once again, it was exclusive to Netflix, and it's One Piece, which is a huge IP, and a lot of people, you know, the One Piece fandom, the people that know One Piece, you know, it was kind of like a lot of people were tuning in to see if it was good, if it was bad, and it was generally a good TV show. So, you know, One Piece doing 18 million views is absolutely insane. I don't think there's even an anime that has come close to this. But on the other end of the spectrum, right, this is the live action. If we actually look at One Piece, it doesn't show up here at all when it comes to like non-English like TV shows, right? And we know that Netflix right now, they also have the One Piece anime from Egg Island and up. I think they're also getting it weekly. But I feel like it's definitely one of those things where a lot of people, a lot of One Piece fans, they watch One Piece on Crunchyroll, or, you know, they sell the high seas. But, you know, it kind of shows how big of a difference there is between like the One Piece anime and the One Piece live action when it comes to Netflix and their numbers. Hopefully, when the One Piece remake releases, I don't know if it's going to be exclusive to Netflix, but if it is, I generally do think it's going to be probably the most popular anime on the platform. But we're going to have to wait and see on that. Now, there's one more thing I want to tackle here, because my favorite anime of the season didn't even make the top 10. And, of course, that is Orb on the Movements of the Earth. Now, this anime is exclusive to Netflix, at least from what I know. I can't watch it on Crunchyroll. So I'm tuning in every Saturday to watch this. And it's not an anime that's for everybody, right? Like, it's not like a shonen, it's a seinen. So it's definitely like for a more mature audience. That's the target demographic for it. And it's also like very dialogue heavy, right? Like, you have to like the plot, you have to like the characters, because we don't have a lot of action scenes like we do in something like Dandadan, for example, right? So you definitely have to like this type of anime. But for me, I love every single character. I love the premise of the show. It's about astrology and how, you know, trying to disprove that the center of the like Earth is the center of the universe, right? How in medieval times the church was essentially just going on inquisitions, and, you know, if you were talking about anything that contradicted the church teachings, you were a heretic and you were gonna be tortured and put to death. It's an absolutely insane anime, but you do have to like that type of content, right? You do have to like, you know, the characters and all that stuff. And I think this anime, at least for me, is my anime of the season. Yes, I will put it above dandadan. I will put it up above any anime that's releasing right now. But that's just my opinion, right? But the fact that it didn't actually get anywhere near the top 10, I mean, it might be number 11, we don't know. But the fact that it didn't make the top 10 is kind of like a bummer, because Netflix might look at those numbers and say, well, should we really invest in season 2? And we might not ever get a season 2, especially since we know that Netflix is notorious for not renewing series if they don't perform to their standards, right? And I would say that at the very least, when they're looking at something like dandadan, heck, even Ranma 1/2, and they look at the orbs on the Movements of the Earth numbers, and they had to cut one, we all know which one is getting cut, and it will be a shame. But regardless, you know, I like to look at numbers because it kind of just shows how much anime has grown in here in the US and in the West in general. And I really love to see it, right? Because again, we know that Netflix is heavily investing in anime, and, you know, they're gonna keep investing, they're gonna keep getting exclusive shows. And I gotta tell you, I love seeing that, right? But let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about these numbers. Are you surprised that dandadan right now is dominating, or did you feel like, you know, maybe Dragon Ball is going to take that spot and keep that spot for the near future? We're going to see next week how it drops and how it goes. But overall, I'm happy. Let me know what you think. And like always, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace out. Whoa.